I saw a post on Riho some time ago. Why do I feel like there have been fewer opportunities in the past 2 years? Why does work feel increasingly boring? Is it a lack of motivation? In the past 2 years, opportunities for job hopping and salary increases have begun to decrease. Actually, I discovered a problem a few years ago. Judging from the countries I have been to, it seems that only China's social changes are so rapid. Especially in the past few years, everyday wealth myths appear frequently. In other countries, this situation has long since ceased. Young people can accumulate it in a few years, the wealth accumulated by China's parents throughout their lives. This can only be seen in China. Then why these 2 years, this situation is starting to subside a bit. The reason is not complicated, but before explaining why, I want to talk about the situation in Brazil and Japan first. I've been to many places. If I were to say that people are least motivated to work, the country with the least opportunities, two things immediately popped into my mind: Brazil and Japan. Brazil and Japan are two completely different countries. Let's talk about Brazil first. Brazil is a very interesting country. Theoretically, it should be richer than Canada, but it's different from Canada. In terms of population, Canada is actually a small country. The population is only a few million more than that of Chongqing. But so few people occupy so much land. Brazil is a big country. The population is over 200 million, so go and experience it for yourself. You can find that Canada is much richer than Brazil, and the polarization between rich and poor in the entire country of Brazil is very serious. It seems that the average is not low, but a few rich people took away a big piece of the cake. The high-end wealthy areas in Brazil are the same as those in India. Magnificent, almost like Manhattan. The weird thing is, rich areas in Brazil are also built next to slums. Maybe they go out by the window every morning. It can also increase your luck quite a lot. Wealthy people live in wealthy areas, engage in high-profit projects such as mining and farming, etc., or work on infrastructure-related projects, such as the telecommunications industry, water supply industry, etc. China has no public welfare. There used to be some charity, gone these years, throughout Chinese society. People don't think tomorrow will be better. It seems like China is living one day at a time. In fact, Brazil has not changed much in the past few decades. It's been a bit of a setback in the past few years. At first, ranked as one of the BRIC countries by Nobel economists, almost no one mentions this word now. Because the Brazilian economy is really hard to describe. What's even more exaggerated is that my colleague once said he wanted to buy a house in Sao Paulo because his house in Shanghai skyrocketed before. I think it makes no sense the houses in the Brazilian capital are so cheap. Later, after much deliberation, I decided not to buy it, because he feels that such a good thing is not his turn. If it was really going to go up, it should have gone up early. A few days ago, I asked him if the house prices there had gone up. He asked his friend over there and said he fell. It is also strange that house prices in the capital will fall. After all, even the house prices in India's capital are rising. Generally, countries are issuing excessive amounts of currency in order to preserve value. Ordinary people will buy houses to resist inflation. Brazilians don't even care about inflation. There is no face at all in Brazil if there is inflation. Brazilians are carpe-diemists. The word overtime doesn't exist in Brazil. The whole country has a laid-back temperament. There are fruit trees everywhere. Meet the mature season. The fruit fell to the ground and smashed to pieces. So there is no such thing as starvation to death. After talking about Brazil, it's time to talk about Japan. Japan is a more unique country. If you are new to it, you will feel it is very delicate. The whole country is exquisite and harmonious, and very beautiful and clean. It's like entering a beautiful and noble community. But if you stay in Japan for a long time, can be found. Everyone in the whole country. It's like setting up a program, repeatedly every day, underneath the polite appearance. It's a strict social class. Let's first talk about the situation that often happens in China. Almost daily life in Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. You just severely repaired a boy today. He will resign in anger tomorrow. He will find a new job in a few days. Your salary has doubled, and it's on top of your head. I also sent a message to call you Xiao Wang, and a few days ago, he called you Mr. Wang. This scenario is almost impossible in Japan or very, very rare. Educated people in Japan rarely change jobs. Most people go to a company right after graduation, stay there until old age. Promotion and salary increases depend on seniority. China has been with the company for a long time. Then China moved to another company. Then China has to rearrange China's qualifications. Then he really became a 40-year-old fireman. So, when Japanese people deal with interpersonal relationships, they're all cautious. After all, we have to be together for many years. Don't be too distant and don't be too close. They always have fake smiles on their faces. Afraid of making others think you are unfriendly. Not easy to get along with in the future. I have witnessed several people running to Japan in the past few years. Hi. When I first went there, he's like a country bumpkin who's never been to the city. Being in a state of mental excitement every day, various updates, that's what I see every day. Over the years, these people have become more and more negative. There was no news after that. I usually move back after 3 to 5 years because he really can't stand the kind of behavior between people. Inner indifference. Japan's highly static society can drive most people crazy, and Japanese people don't like second-hand houses very much. Therefore, second-hand houses in Japan often cannot be sold at high prices. This is why Japanese real estate is very stable. Of course, the most important thing is the aging of the population. Population has a decisive impact on cities. So why do we talk about these two countries? Because compared with China, these two countries are a little bit similar. The social economy has experienced a period of rapid development, but later they have all fallen into a state of serious lack of social vitality. Why does this state occur? To put it bluntly, Brazil is the same as Japan over the past few decades. Didn't even make it this round, the opportunity for the explosion of mobile internet, so the social structure has not been affected. The market is very stable. No energy to wash dishes. The big companies 20 years ago are still big companies now, since no new big companies emerge. What about ordinary people? Don't even think about benefiting from this kind of shuffle. You may have felt a little tired now. I feel like the opportunities are slowly dwindling. Profits in all industries are getting thinner and thinner, are gradually catering. The profits in this catering industry are so thin that updates are as fast as stock trading. 8 out of 10 companies lose money. This is actually a technological dividend for society as a whole. Signs of exhaustion soon. There is no hope of changing jobs and getting a salary increase. A sign that industry dividends are running out. Even if you want to change jobs, there is no place to do so. Everyone, think about it, right? If you can't change jobs, of course, you can only stay in one company. Overdue for qualifications, only technological breakthroughs occur, will produce a series of overthrows and remakes. This process also yields additional dividends. For example, countless science and technology parks across the country have become popular, and countless families are living a better life relying on this round of technological dividends, enjoying a happy life. If mobile internet hadn't exploded in China, the high income of horse farmers is like a dream. A little longer, some of these outbursts, just like the water and oil in the bottle, calm down slowly and form a new pattern. It's like the earth. It used to be steamy and sticky. It will take shape once it cools down. Without external force breaking it, there is a high probability that China. It will take the form of Germany or Japan. The whole society is very stable. Fluctuations are very small. Of course, there are fewer opportunities. Japan and Germany are pretty good. Can be understood as high stagnation. Most other countries are locked at low levels. At this point, everyone will understand. Before joining the World Trade Organization, China's development situation is average. After joining the World Trade Organization, China's big developments triggered by demand and technological input. Development has obviously begun to slow down in the past 2 years. Then everyone felt this life seems to be less free than before. No accident. In a few years, China. All aspects of society will become very stable. Everyone no longer changes jobs casually. Nowadays, everyone feels that work is unmotivated and boring. A large part of the reason is that there are fewer and fewer miracles. The rest is just routine work day after day. Of course, at that time, maybe everyone won't be entangled anymore. Finish work every day with peace of mind. Go back and do some entertainment or something. Now the whole world is like the Chinese people, collectively thinking about progress. There seems to be no more. Japan and South Korea also had this kind of passion before. It has subsided now. This phenomenon has already appeared in our country. What is more obvious is that several leading internet companies cut out such a large online market share. There are only a few giants left in the mobile phone industry, and long videos and short videos, social communication. There is a very mature company established there. This is a clear sign that the market is becoming mature and stable. Once a giant has established a foothold in a mature field, it is very likely that it will stay there for dozens or hundreds of years until the emergence of new technologies. They will leave reluctantly during this process. Society will only gradually become calmer. Such as Japan, business that can be done. There are fewer and fewer opportunities to make a fortune. It is obviously a very developed society, but everyone feels that this life is very boring. Of course, it may also be because of new technologies in some countries. No fruiting at all. Just play a little bit. The fruits of the second industrial revolution, farms and minerals and stuff, such as Russia and Argentina. So Brazil is a middle-income trap. Japan is a high-income trap. Both of these have developed to a certain state. Dividends disappear in a certain industry. Society cannot continue to make breakthroughs upward. Then it's solidified. Before China successfully developed a shield machine, the Germans rely on this machine to make money lying down. Almost no matter how much they price, China has to buy it. Otherwise, China has to dig the tunnel itself with a shovel. Once China successfully develops this kind of machine, it can help China support tens of thousands of families and hundreds of thousands of people. And this kind of machine is sold overseas. You can also start a company with money. China can develop more advanced equipment. China can recruit more technical staff and carry out a new round of technological expansion. The development of other industries in China is similar. For example, Huawei, which was hotly discussed some time ago, was actually very powerful before, carving out a bloody path in the telecommunications field. China also encountered some twists and turns throughout the process. But at that time, the United States was more reasonable than it is now. Everyone has seen what happened next. Are Chinese companies regionally similar to integrators? Most of the key components in mobile phones are foreign. Start with Huawei. China has embarked on the road of independent research and development. Then, it was targeted by the United States. It will definitely not work without independent research and development. Then, China will soon fall into involution. Then, it solidifies quickly. But before 2018, most people don't consider it. China is going to produce mobile phones from scratch. Which chips? This aspect is now cost-effective. Just like if you need a kitchen knife, why don't you buy one? Or should I open a blacksmith shop and build one myself? Of course, is it more cost-effective to buy one? On the other hand, this initial investment is too big, and you may not get any results in the end. But now we have basically reached the consensus China does not develop its own chips. Sooner or later, someone will get stuck in your neck. There is no choice but choice. I went to recruit some time ago. The people who participated in the recruitment together were people from a certain star international. There is a young man in their team. Looks easier to talk to. The two of us just chatted for a while. After graduating from the University of Science and Technology of China, this guy goes to the United States to study for a PhD. After the doctoral degree, works at a chip company in the United States. Who is the tallest Chinese person in the company? Can only achieve middle-level cadre positions, so he gets upset as soon as he goes to work. I feel like this career is already halfway through. Want to go back to China? But the domestic chip industry is in such a situation. Later, I heard that the United States was going to suppress China's chip industry. They contacted a new leader. After communication and repeated discussions with China's wife, I took my family and China's family back to the country. When China first entered the department, China found that there were not many people inside. Trial period expired. The leader gave China 3 people to take China with China. Now China has 2 project teams under China. He was talking about chips. To an outsider, it looks very high-end. In fact, although it is not easy to develop chips, but it's not that difficult. The most difficult thing is the issue of cost effectiveness and cost. With a mature supply chain in the market, China, even if you produce it, you won't be able to sell it. This is like being in your neighborhood. It's very convenient to already have one, a well-stocked supermarket. Later, I opened another one. There are not as many categories as the previous supermarket. The price is more expensive. Who is going? Why didn't China study chips before? To put it bluntly, even if China researches it, China won't be able to sell it. The quality is not as good as others, and the cost abroad is higher than others. No one will buy it at all. But it's different now. The United States no longer sells. Even if you want to catch the duck and put it on the shelves, you need to develop it yourself. More than just Huawei, all domestic mobile phone manufacturers, they are all staring at chip developers like them. It's not just those mobile phone manufacturers either, and Shanghai Microelectronics and so on. Now they don't care about anything. Chips must be developed as soon as possible. Not only does the state allocate funds, China also raised a lot of funds from the market. Both the market and the country voted with money. This is the highest level of voting. Now, a member of their team, they all came back from the United States and Germany. Everyone is raising a family. He also said that many self-media and the internet are extremely pessimistic. In fact, there's nothing to be afraid of. Those chip workers, it's all about their own careers and the whole family for the rest of their lives. Are you betting? As long as the things produced can be sold, the iteration loop is now running. Just produce. The industrial wheel of market research and development is rolling. There is no problem that cannot be solved. He also said one thing. He said, the country now faces huge challenges, but for those chip workers, a once-in-a-century opportunity has come. If this matter is settled smoothly, it can fill a huge demand hole in China. China's current wave of people developing chips. Just like those people who joined the internet around 2010, he showed me a list. Talk about the people on the list. A few years ago, I couldn't find a suitable job in the market. Those who were instantly rejected by internet companies, but now they are in high demand. Everyone is given a high salary, waiting for approval from the big boss. After the approval is done, it's time to go to work. At this point, everyone should understand if the chip can break upward, the technology tree climbs further. My country's equilibrium level will further rise. A rising tide lifts all boats. Drive upstream and downstream. A bunch of opportunities and jobs will emerge again, with China's ability to work hard. Promising future. And new technologies will bring about changes in the entire society. For example, countless families will be affected by new technological breakthroughs, becoming middle class. These people have higher spending power, and it will also make the cake in other fields bigger. This is like the rise of a certain treasure. It's like making various villages in the south rich for a generation. They are rich, further promoting the prosperity of the market. But there is something to say, the challenge is also very big. It's like back then. Americans stole Britain. The textile machine technology of the housekeeper has the same origin. It has made Britain sad for many years. Samuel Slater, the father of American manufacturing, to this day, he is still the biggest trader in British history. What about the United States now? China is also taking strict precautions against leakage of chip technology. What a strange coincidence. Now the high-tech field is a dairy farm in European and American countries. They definitely don't want others to get a piece of the pie. But our country has to move forward. Otherwise, soon we will be in the same situation as Japan and Brazil. The problem is that our country's current per capita GDP is far from being as high as Japan. Since there is no way to retreat, then China can only go up. When China went to the United States a few years ago, China discovered a problem. China can see a big package of beef in American supermarkets. $9.90 to lobster tails $12. Every family in China is a large displacement car. But look at us again. Let's look at other less developed countries. An obvious problem can be found. The poorer the country, the more expensive good things are. That is to say, the rise and fall of nations directly determine how much you can buy in the supermarket. The dignity of the common people that China has always emphasized, in fact, is completely linked to the rise of great powers. Keep saying one thing, China's goal should be defined as efforts to improve the living standards of 1.4 billion people. Let everyone live a happy life. Many people every day envy the living standards of developed countries in Europe and America, but are completely unaware of the need to achieve that goal. China needs to do something, so what exactly should be done? Just struggle on all levels. Quantity and technology porn, engineering technology management, etc. Otherwise you will quickly fall into a low opportunity trap. People who are not successful now should not think about getting ahead again, the so-called middle income trap. In fact, it is because the technology is blocked and cannot be accessed. The whole society has been reduced to a working class. China can only eat the portion given to them, more people, less meat. Naturally, it is easy for China to fall into. Amidst fierce internal friction and internal competition, I don't know how long this conflict will last, but it must have been a fierce battle that lasted for many years. I don't believe that globalization will go back significantly, but the technical blockade. It's definitely a done deal. We can only give up our fantasies. China worked hard. After all, apart from climbing up now, there is no other way to choose from. Thank you everyone for watching. If you like it, please follow and support China. See you next time.